Hello guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Gav aka Baytech, and in this video what we're going to be doing is starting on the engine mounts for the RX7. Oh, the wee bikey's looking mean today. Well, in true Scottish fashion, it's pissing down. So we'll be working in the wet today, but we're just going to get on with it. We're not going to let that stop us. We're going to crack open the bonnet. I've got the engine and gearbox up in a bit of wood, and yeah, we're going to start sticking bits of metal together. But first things first, I'm going to give this a little bit of a clean up. Right, so this is where I'm going to start off. We have two engine mounts here. These engine mounts are like Land Rover engine mounts. Just you can get them off eBay for around about £8. This is actually old parts of like it's thick tubing roll cage. It's quite high quality stuff. Nice to weld on, and yeah, that'll do is the majority of the engine mount itself. I made these up last night, basically discs, and I've just stuck them on the bottom. So the idea of these is basically a drill hole, and this will sit through in here. This piece will go into the chassis, and then these pieces here will come from like an angle like that down onto this will be the engine here as such. So that's what I'm going with. That's my plan. We'll see how it goes. It's still raining, so I'm going to use a jack to lower the car to the position where I want the engine, because the engine's actually on, as you can see over there, bits of wood, to keep it level with the driveway, because the driveway is at a slight slant. So I'm going to get that up as high as I can, and still be able to close the bonnet. Now, see these case series rocker covers? I have seen online somebody cut these down, and actually like here, cut across here, because obviously the cams themselves are around about here. Variable valve timing one here, slightly bigger, but you could take this down, and that would maybe give me half an inch. So I'm going to bear that in mind. I'm going to jack it down, and I'll put it around about that sort of area. And once that's in place, I'll show you down there. That's the original engine mount, and I'm just going to mount it up onto these here. You can see these here. I put these on the other day there. What I'll actually do is I'll insert some photos now. So these were basically bits of steel. I cut out a plate and I've welded them together. I put a bit of bracing in here as well, just to make it a little bit stronger, and I've welded them onto the chassis. So the reason I'm welding them onto the chassis is the diff and the steering rack, the wishbones, are all going to be mounted to the subframe. Now the subframe, I want to be able to remove that and keep the engine in the car. So if I need to modify any of them parts, the engine can stay in the car, and I can pull the carrier in and out, the subframe in and out, because I'll probably have to do that to get the diff angles in the right place. So yeah, that means there's not too much stress on the actual subframe itself, and I can easily build bracing across the subframe to strengthen it all up. So I am being very wary of triangulation and trying to keep the strength everywhere, especially with the transmission tunnel. And I'll show you that, because I got some steel for that. So I've just kind of sat this in place just now. Obviously, this is not how it's going to be. But the dash actually comes to about here. It comes right far back, so there's only a little bit you're going to see of the actual modifications itself. Now this plate's here. I'll have actually a firewall at the back, and these will be solid up here. So structurally, I'll have them also running along the bottom as well, so I can cage this. Now if that's caged, that'll keep strength, and I'll make a couple panels removable so I can get to bell housing bolts, the back of the engine, and oil cooler lines and stuff like that. Now I won't be doing the gearbox mount today because I don't think I've got the time for that, but we're going to concentrate on just doing the engine mounts first. Once I get them in place, I'll be much happier. I'll probably use a ratchet strap inside the car to lift the gearbox up into the position I want it to be in, to get it perfect, the perfect angle I want it. And from there onwards, the engine can almost stay in there. I'm just waiting for an adapter for the torque converter to the flywheel from Works, so that'll come at some point whenever it comes. As you can see, that's the original engine mount, and that's where the new one's going to go. There's not too much of an angle up the way, but it is a little bit. But what I'll do first is I'm going to take off these original mounts and cut them down so it's just the plates left over. Right, so whip the mounts off. I don't know if you remember this one. This was the mount I made, 2018. So 4 years that's been in there. It's pretty heavy duty. It's heavy stuff, like heavy gauge stuff. And this is the stuff I made out the tubing. So this was when I converted from K20 to K24. They have different mounting holes. So I decided to go for this version. And actually, to be honest with you, I should have probably put a little gusset here. But, you know, it took all the lunches. It never broke. There's no sign of cracking or anything. So, can I beat the good old MIG welder for stuff like that? I do not TIG weld engine mounts and stuff. I'm not arsed for the internet looking welds. I just literally plough as much steel onto it as you can, because in my opinion it definitely takes a lot more abuse than sort of thin cracky TIG. I've made these all elongated to give me plenty of room. The steering rack itself, you know, this column will actually come down about this sort of angle, so that clears the exhaust manifold. No jokes, that took so long cutting through that. Oh, what? Nice and thick, but you know, that's probably why it didn't break. Right, you'll have to ignore the sound of rain. But what I've done is I've stuck the exhaust manifold on. So this is one of the main factors, you know, for the engine to be in the right position. The exhaust manifold has to be able to clear everything, has to clear the steering rack, and it also has to be, you know, far enough away from the engine mount as well. The next issue as well is obviously the side pieces here. Everything has to be able to come off while in the car. So I've pulled out these ERC titanium studs and I've just put in some bolts just now because that makes me able to slide the exhaust manifold in and out. Basically comes straight up, so it's not a problem. I've got round the back here, you know, I've got plenty of room where everything needs to go. You know, the engine's jacked up down there, there's plenty of room there. You know, we're talking, well, I'm not sure what size of block is that. Is that a 4-inch block? Right, now with that setup, there is one downside. Once I've welded them in position, the engine can't go any lower. It can only go up. Now that is part of the design I'm sort of thinking of. I can put plates in these engine mounts, you know, to space the engine mounts up and space the engine up higher. So if I do decide to go for, you know, a fancy rocker cover, or decide to make one, I can raise the engine up to get it even higher to get more room for the diff. Obviously that's the main constraint, is the actual engine hitting the bonnet. So now I best get my wellies on and crawl underneath the car in the pouring rain and start tacking stuff. Once I've tacked them, I'll show you guys a video and we'll get them into the nice dry garage and we'll start welding them up. So I got sick of like working in the rain and stuff, so ta-da! Wee shelter. It's kind of cheating, but same time as I don't like to work in the wet. So yeah, let's move some stuff at the road and get this exhaust manifold off and get welding. Right, so there we have it. First bit of pipe about in place, so I just need to, you know, get it all where it's going to sit, probably as low as I can, because I'll maybe run a wee bit of webbing down here for support. But yeah, general gist is that is how it's going to go. So what I'll do now is I'll get a couple of tacks on with the old trusty Artec MIG. Right, that's all welded up now. Let's be honest, big welds on the go here, on purpose obviously, so we can get plenty strength in this tubing. I've added in a little web in there as well, welded both sides. So it's going to be nice and strong, so exactly what I'm after. I need to coat it with a wee bit of paint. And then onto the other side. Okay, so here we have it. She's all bolted up, nice. So I'm very happy with that. It looks nice and strong. It's certainly not going to go anywhere. So I've put this little jack underneath here to get the sump a little bit more level. And we're now going to mount onto this one. So that piece there needs to go to that piece there, but there is, as you can see there, a thermostat housing in the way, which is going to make things a little tricky. So as per last time, I'm going to have to mount it at the bottom of that plate and quite a bit of an angle. So let's cut a bit of pipe out and see if we can get it close. So basically what I'm doing, I just, excuse the finger, I cut it a wee bit, but I'm basically shaping this to the same contour as the pipe. And I'm not very good at angles, you know I hate angles, I've just never been good at them. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking a bit at a time off with the flap disc on the grinder. It's just a 40 grit one, so it removes material quite fast. And basically get it close to where it needs to go. It's still got a few mil to come off, and that looks okay there. So still plenty of clearance for the thermostat housing. So we'll do the same. We'll make a wee brace up there too, and we'll get that tacked on. She's all tacked up now, so just need to weld it all together. None of this internet weld pish, we'll just get fucking a nice thick bead right the way around. And we'll do the same here as well. We'll make a wee strengthening plate from here to here, just to take stress off the weld a little bit. And I'll thicken up the weld around here as partial gussets. Oh yes, just like that. Smoking. We're in the car. Look how cool that looks. Awesome. So basically now, right, we've got this guy here that runs right down the side of the box, right in there, and it's going to go the diff in there. We've got plenty of clearance now for it. So what I need to do now is there's a block of wood still underneath this gearbox. I need to try and make a frame or something like that, so I can ratchet strap the box up to the position I need it in, and then look at how I'm going to make a mount in the back. But we'll see. I've got a ratchet strap here. Can't really hang it off the roof because probably pull the roof down. Probably fold the car in half or something like that. So yeah, I might actually go off some of these pillars here or off here maybe. Something like that. Something's kind of structural. Because they're not too heavy. Like this, it's probably a couple of 100 kilograms in the engine and the gearbox. I can lift this thing up, no problem. And I can lift the engine up, no problem. But put them both together, I don't think I'd manage that. So we'll try that. I'll try a ratchet strap on some of these holes. And hopefully the car doesn't fold in half. There we have it. Look at this, she's ticked. I can almost play a tune off it. And what I'm going to do now is jack up the front of the car. Hopefully the engine and gearbox goes up with it, and I can remove that big bit of lumber underneath, and that in itself will be nice. Right, so I'm extremely happy to announce the plank of wood has now been removed. The engine mounts are all on solid and looking very, very strong. The prop you can see is going to come through here. There's massive amounts of ground clearance now. Much more than there was previous, so very, very happy with that. And yeah, that's the engine and box mounted in the car. Now we're still a long way away. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff to do, but at least that's the engine mounts done, and hopefully I don't have to touch them again. The next stage is going to be doing the gearbox mount. The gearbox mount will be quite tricky. I'm going to use some of the BMW stuff and then obviously make my own sort of stuff. Thinking maybe like plates inside the car with nuts on them, and then bolting through up through the floor, which would definitely help, you know, spread out the load and stuff like that, because these cars standard didn't really have gearbox mounts as such, so they had a power plant frame. So apart from that, like, the car's not flexing, everything seems to be really stiff in place. I'm happy with the progress we've made today. Take it a little bit at a time, and hopefully I don't have to revisit too much stuff. So I'm extremely happy with the progress, and I cannot wait to see this thing do a 4-wheel burnout. Like, it's going to be sick. Right guys, thanks for coming along watching. Appreciated for all the comments you guys left last time. It was like showing me the love, and you're really interested in this build, and I've taken on some of your advice as well, that you've commented and said you should try this, this and this, and this is exactly what I've done. And you know, it's coming together. Anyway guys, thanks for coming along and watching. As usual, stay safe, take care, and we'll catch you in the next vid. Cheers.